When I had the privilege of becoming president of Augustana 10 years ago, I inherited as president a college which was in wonderful shape. Dr. Tom Treadway had moved this college forward to the National Liberal Arts College that it is today. And it was a matter of, as I told Jane, not screwing up and trying to make it a little better. And we're proud of what the team has done. One of the things that is quite exciting for us are all the new capital projects. And we thank you because many of you have supported those capital projects through the Authentically Augustana campaign. The theory of renovating old buildings, you can do one of two things. You can renovate the old buildings to the original status, which would make that building essentially unusable for today's students and technology. Or you can renovate it in a very modern way that blends the new with the old. Now in this case, it has been designed and renovated to emphasize the dome by lighting the dome at night, and to emphasize the stained glass windows, to have kind of a stark contrast between a modern interior and the stained glass. The rotunda areas are spectacular there, very modern, but with the feel of the rotundas that you enjoyed. So we invite you to tour that building informally. It should be opened up by the end of the month. The second building that we have renovated and are expanding would be the Center for Student Life. When you go into the library, the ground floor of the library has a lot of compact shelving. Students would prefer to use online resources if they can over books. But not everything is online. Interestingly, special collections, that is books, photographs, and other things that are likely not to be online ever or very soon, are increasing in importance at Augustana with all the faculty research, student research, and so on. So we've expanded special collections that would have Rock Island material, Illinois material, material connected to the research interests of our faculty. You go to the second floor, and it looks like the second floor used to look, but you'll see at the end of every table, you'll see large TV screens, and students are able to plug their computers in their group study areas and group study projects. As you move up to the fourth floor, you have a very active and noisy learning place, which is like a Starbucks on steroids. And this is the most popular part of the college study experience. So if you go into a coffee shop, and they tend to be quite noisy with the espresso machine going, that's where you see students studying. Students today want to see and be seen when they're studying. The surprise for us was when we received a $9 million commitment from the Austin Knowlton Foundation to renovate the football field. The challenge by the Knowlton Foundation to me was to create a game day atmosphere for football similar to the game day atmosphere at the University of Iowa or the University of Illinois. So this is designed to be a football stadium that is more than a football stadium. For the students, there's a patio overlooking the football field with chairs. There's a sports club for them to go into, so as we're beating North Central soundly next year, they can check out on 20 TV screens, the Iowa game, the Illinois game, and it will be an outstanding game day atmosphere. We'd especially invite you back to homecoming this year, where we will dedicate the 3 new buildings at Augustana in a more formal way. But Augustana is about so much more than buildings. We're building more now than we ever have, thanks to this successful campaign. It's about the people. So let me tell you about our faculty. The names have changed by and large from when many of you were at Augustana. The commitment has not. So many college presidents complain about faculty not innovating, complain about faculty not wanting to do study abroad programs, complain about faculty not willing to organize activities for their students in the community. Not so at Augustana. This is an entrepreneurial faculty that focuses on student learning outcomes, preparing our students for tomorrow. This faculty is determined that to prepare students for tomorrow, many of them should study abroad. Over 50% of our students have studied abroad for the last 2 years. Our faculty have also believed that we ought to pop that Augie bubble and that we ought to get our students into internships in the community to learn what this great community has to offer. 60 to 70% of our students that graduated have internships. And then we have determined that there ought to be a senior capstone project or a senior research project to take this great integrative and critical thinking that they have and apply it in their field. Next year, the last two departments will add a senior inquiry program. German and Scandinavian will have that. So 100% of our students will graduate with some level of senior project, many of them senior research projects directed by faculty members. Well, let me conclude there and say that we're looking at these issues at Augustana. We have a requirement from our Board of Trustees to have a new strategic plan by this time next year. How are we going to keep Augustana affordable? How are we going to make the case for the liberal arts with some families that are skeptical? How are we going to bridge the generation gap between my generation that's just mastering PowerPoint, kind of, sort of, and students that want a very dynamic, within the classroom, face-to-face, eyeball-to-eyeball education that is enhanced by technology?